to offer support, understanding, and strategy to thousands of students. Of course, this horrific event has brought to surface both old and new tensions regarding the Middle East. We know that as a community and as a mosaic of generations, there's a lot we agree on and there is much that we don't. We know that many of our peers may feel any number of ways at different times. We may feel in solidarity with the majority of the Jewish community. We may also feel confused or challenged by some the decisions our leaders are making, or with what we see happening across Israel and with Palestinian civilians. But that's okay. A plurality of opinion and debate is important. It is also very Jewish.
Where we can find common ground is that we stand against hate. We condemn anti-Semitism. Calling for the end of Israel's existence should not be tolerated. Jews around the world should be free of fear and have the same rights and respect as anyone else. It was important to me, my friends standing here, and to so many across our generation to be on the stage and share with the world. We will not be afraid. We are proud to be Jewish, and we will stand up against intolerance.
Today's historic program begins with a focus on us, the Jewish community's youngest generation and future leadership. Our goal is to inspire strength, confidence, and action. We are lucky to be joined by influencers, changemakers, and artists to help stir us from the loneliness, despair, and weight of the world we may have been feeling over the last month.
We want you to return home knowing that you are far from alone. Look around. Today can serve as a reminder for any of us when we're feeling alone or isolated. The Jewish people and tens of millions of others of all faiths and cultures around the world stand with us and support our pursuit of peace.
So while it's a terrible reason to have to gather, there's no reason that we can't feel the support of one another, embrace the warmth of our community, and use this opportunity to listen, learn, and lead. When we return to our schools and campuses tomorrow, we have a lot of work to do. But as it has been Jewish tradition for millennia, we refuse to stop celebrating when we're together. We refuse to pause any practice of Judaism. And despite all the good and the bad, we will never stop choosing life. Am Yisrael Chai! Please welcome to the stage spoken word poet Talia Bodner and an ensemble of a high school and college student activists working with thousands of their peers to support Israel, advocate for the freedom of the hostages, and combat anti-Semitism on their campuses and in their communities. Talia is a freshman at Columbia University and the Jewish Theological Seminary and is active with students supporting Israel, Chabad on campus, and Columbia Hillel.
It's been 38 days, that's 1 month plus a week, since our lives turned upside down and the world turned their cheek. I wake up each morning racked with worry, the world feels bleak, as we fall victim every day to baseless hatred and constant critique. But we are not defenseless and we are not weak. We have an army that will make this a winning streak. We are modern day Maccabees, strong and united. And we have each other and the power to speak up about justice and to fight for what's right, to give voice to the victims swallowed up by the night. Like you, I am a Jew, and I am a proud one too. There is so much that we have all been through, and now I am here standing in front of all of you. So what are we here to do? What brought you to this place on today of all days? What is it that you all have to say? We're here because we are tired of being quiet. We have a voice, and now it's time that we try it. You see, this is not only about our tiny home across the sea and the soldiers who fight every day to keep Israel free. This is about all those who feel hurt, sad, and angry. We have lost too many lives. It's hurting everybody. Both Palestinian and Israeli, we all deserve dignity. This is about Jews around the world in every community. This is about those of us who make up the rest of our family tree. This is about my friends at Columbia and the Jewish Theological Seminary. This is about students on campuses where they don't like what they see. This is about day schools and youth groups and gap years and camps and our chosen family. This is about you, and this is about me. This is about all of us who came from around the country to cry out in the face of insanity. We are Jews proudly, and we will defend Israel loudly. Let us stand up against inhumanity. Let us fight for a land and a home we will never have to flee. We are a nation that does not go down so easily. You and me, we stand in unity. We have agency. Let's write our own history. Let's make our own destiny.
I am Nadav Raphael Gilboa. I have been educating student organizations on my campus, a campus where many are passionate, but few truly understand the tragic situation in our homeland. I am a sophomore at RIT. I am an American. I am an Israeli. I am a Jew. I am the brother of a lone soldier fighting on the front lines in Gaza right now. And I am the former national president of Young Judea, a youth movement who has already lost too many to the fighting. I use my knowledge, I use my dedication, and I use my perspective to engage those around me, and you can too.
Hi everyone, I'm Logan. I'm from North Carolina, and I'm planning to visit Israel with Route 1 next summer. I'm one of 6 Jews at my boarding school. So access to community over the last 5 weeks hasn't just been hard, it's been impossible. But on October 8th, I put on my kippah and I haven't taken it off since, not for myself, but for the 12,000 people who no longer can. I also helped raise more than $100,000 with BBYO for an Israeli evacuee center at the Maccabi World Union's campus outside of Tel Aviv. And you can too.
I'm Bali. I'm a junior and campus leader with students supporting Israel at Tulane University in New Orleans. Following October 7th, I organized a rally with over 1,000 students and community members, have become a regular speaker at Louisiana area Jewish events, and helped establish one of the first campus-based empty chair Shabbat dinner installations that raises awareness about freeing the hostages now. And you can too.
I'm Jacob, a lifelong Romanic and a junior at the Jack M. Barrack Hebrew Academy in Philadelphia. I was in Israel at the Alexander Muss High School when the war broke out on October 7th. My classmates and I had to come home early, which was devastating to us all. Disappointed but not defeated, my AMHSI friends and I organized a massive fundraiser for the Jewish National Fund, and we've raised over $147,000. I'm looking forward to returning to Israel this summer with Ramah Seminar, and you can too.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma Zettner, and I'm a World Jewish Congress Fellow, a former International Nasiya for BBYO, and I'm honored to currently serve on Hillel's International Student Cabinet. At Hillel, we've been focused on organizing events to foster Jewish community on every campus in North America. We're working with students across the globe to build and access resources for curriculum for university leaders to use so that our campuses are safe learning environments that can respectfully host effective and meaningful discussions. And you can too.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Abby. I'm a Route 1 Israel Scholarship recipient and a senior at Washington Liberty High School in Virginia.
And I'm Nate, also a senior from San Diego's Canyon Crest Academy.
In partnership with my community's local JCRC, I worked with the group of students to engage our school district superintendent to build a plan to combat anti-Semitism and protect Jewish students.
And I organized a teacher-faculty workshop to make sure my public high school staff knew what it's like to be a Jewish student in America today and how they can help. I also created curricula that will help educators build materials to appropriately address the conflict. And you can too.
And I'm Zara Rosenbaum, a senior and student council president at Maryland's Berman Hebrew Academy. In my high school, I helped lead the effort to organize Shabbat deliveries to local families of lone soldiers, facilitated actions to help support the families during this time, and encouraged students to frequently contact our elected officials and representatives. And you can too.
Thank you for your work. It means more than you know. Though the work that we do feels ever so slow, steady we work towards a better tomorrow. Here we stand proudly at the capital of our nation. We bring the new generation. We are ready to lead. We stand here today to sow the seeds for a more perfect future that we know this world needs. Today, we raise our voices as loud as our deeds. Today, we do not need to be quiet with heads bowed. Today, we are allowed. We can raise our voices out loud. We stand in a crowd to express our Jewish pride. We say to the world, we will no longer hide. Let our voices ring out, echoing far and traveling wide. We will not be denied. As we stand alongside, together our voices amplified, and we will be heard. We sing for Israel, our voices sweet like songbirds, and we will be heard. Our love for our homeland transcends more than words, and we will be heard. Hear us now, hear our message word for word. Today we raise our voices loud to the world, and we will be heard. We will be heard.
attention to the screens to hear from our fellow students in Israel.
Shalom, my name is Emily. I'm 17 years old from Iran.
My name is Yair. My name is Razi.
My name is Abital and I'm 17 years old.
17 years old.
17 years old.
From Israel.
In our darkest hour, a ray of light is shining.
A ray of light is shining. A ray of light is shining.
A ray of light is shining.
A ray of light is shining.
The light of your support.
The light.
The light. The light. The light is shining.
The light of your support.
The light of your support.
The light of your support.
We feel the strength.
We feel the strength.
We feel the strength.
We feel the strength of our worldwide Jewish family.
And we want to say.
And we want to say.
And we wanted to say.
Toda. Thank you.
Toda. Thank you.
Toda. Thank you. Toda. Toda.
Toda. Thank you. Thank you. Toda. Thank you. Toda. Thank you. Thank you for standing together with us.
Thank you for standing together with us.
Thank you for standing together with us. Thank you for standing together with us. Thank you for standing together with us. ביחד ננצח. ביחד ננצח.
ביחד ננצח.
ביחד ננצח.
Richie Torres of New York, District 15. Congressman Torres is one of Israel's strongest supporters and most consistent supporters in Congress. He believes standing with America's primary Middle East ally is about human decency. He's been to Israel 5 times, champions Israel to progressive communities, and is a constant presence at the Jewish community's side. Congressman Torres, we are grateful for your friendship, for your leadership, and we are honored to have you standing here with us today.
Thank you. My name is, no. My name is Richie Torres. One of my local rabbis calls me Richie Torah. And I'm from the Bronx. I proudly represent the neighborhood of Riverdale. Wonderful schools like SAR. But today I'm not here only as a Bronxite. I'm not here only as a New Yorker. I am here as an American to defend one of our greatest American values, the U.S.-Israel relationship. The U.S.-Israel relationship is not just a Democratic or Republican value. It's not just a progressive or conservative value. It is an American value encoded in our national DNA. October 7th was a crime against the Jewish state, indeed against humanity, so barbaric that it cannot be ignored. It cannot go unpunished. Hamas must be brought to justice. Israel has a right to defend itself, and America has a duty to stand with Israel in her struggle for survival and self-defense. Israel must do to Hamas what the United States did to ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the 21st century. We must do to Hamas what we did to the Nazis in the 20th century. We must rid the world of the terrorism and barbarism that was perpetrated against humanity and the Jewish people. Now, we know that the narrative has shifted against Israel. Israel is the only country on earth whose existence, whose legitimacy, whose right of self-defense is the target for both delegitimation and destruction. You know, no one expected the United States to enter into a ceasefire with the Empire of Japan when 2,400 Americans were murdered in Pearl Harbor. No one expected the United States to enter into a ceasefire with Al-Qaeda and the Taliban when 3,000 Americans were murdered on 9/11. And so those who insist that Israel should no longer defend itself are holding the Jewish state to a dangerous double standard that no other country, including the United States, would ever impose on itself. I want to be crystal clear. A ceasefire with a terrorist organization is not a peace agreement. It is a death sentence for Israelis. Now, not everyone who's calling for a ceasefire wants Israel to cease to exist, but everyone who wants Israel to cease to exist is calling for a ceasefire. Hamas and Hezbollah and the Islamic Republic of Iran are all calling for a ceasefire. Our answer to them is no. You know, 2023 marks the 75th anniversary of Israel and the 60th anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech. And those two anniversaries remind me that the Jewish people have long had a dream of Jewish liberation. Theodore Herzl had a dream of emancipation from anti-Semitism. The Jews who were driven into exile for thousands of years had a dream of one day returning to their homeland. And so we are here to tell the world that Israel is the realization of a dream. Israel is the manifestation of the words, never again. Israel is the realization of a dream that will live on for the next 75 years and beyond. Israel High. Thank you.
You probably know our next guests because they're known all over the world. With more than 9 million followers on TikTok and nearly 3 million fans on Instagram, Montana Tucker has grown her platform from being a global entertainment star to becoming a leading advocate for the Jewish people. And alongside Montana is a widely celebrated defender of Israel's right to exist in self-defense, Brett Gelman, who you may know as Murray from Netflix's hit series Stranger Things. Please join us in welcoming these two icons to the stage.
How are we doing today? There are a lot of you out there. I think we could be a little louder. I said, how are we doing today? There you go, there you go. Both of my grandparents survived the Holocaust. And growing up, I remember hearing them talk about what came right before. The lies that began to spread about Jewish people, who we are, how we pray, what we represent. My grandparents had friends, good people, who nevertheless started to believe those lies. And when the Nazis came, these friends just let it happen. And, you know, I wonder if they ever found peace afterwards, or if the rest of their lives were defined by the moment when they could have stood up, but again, they decided to stay silent. That's why I chose to do the opposite and stand loud and proud. 1 year ago, I released a docuseries called How to Never Forget on all of my social media platforms, where I went back to Poland to retrace my grandparents' steps during the Holocaust, ending in Auschwitz, where my grandma was, to expose the next generation to the atrocities of what my grandma Lily and so many others endured. We all here, God willing, have long lives ahead of us. But I look around at what is happening, and I wonder if the rest of our lives will be defined by what we chose to do in this very moment. These lies, they're spreading again. The violence is rising again. The threat is real again. And us young people, a lot of you guys are a lot younger than me, you guys have a choice to make. They can stay silent. They can let the lies spread. They can let it all happen again. Or they can stand up and stand together. They can stand together on behalf of Jews in Israel and around the world who no longer feel safe at school, at work, and especially online. They can stand together on behalf of their friends who are seeing one hateful comment after another whenever they scroll through social media. They can stand together on behalf of the victims of October 7th and the hostages that are being held by Hamas. That is why I am here, and that's why every single one of you guys are here, to stand up, to be heard. And that's why I hope that all of our friends will be there for us, that they will choose to stand with us. This is a moment that we will all remember forever. And what we do right now in this moment will stay with us for the rest of our lives. Can you guys just say with me, Am Israel, hi. Am Israel, hi. Thank you all so much.
What is up, Mishpacha? I look out at all of your faces, and I am filled with awe, filled with excitement, filled with hope. I look at all of your faces, and I have one thought. These people, these vibrant, brilliant people, these are the people who are really going to change it all. You know, I don't know about you, but a lot of friends turned their backs on me this month. I feel betrayed in a way I never thought possible. Most hours of the day, the loneliness. Mic check. I'll take it back. Most hours of the day, the loneliness is unbearable. But here's the thing. These so-called friends, they were never really our friends. They were never really there for us. They never really saw us for how we deserve to be seen. As beautiful, as special, as excellent. And the fact is,
They might never see us for who we really are, but we see them. We see them now oh so clearly. We see that these oh so fake former friends are nothing but cowards. Cowards. Cowards who tell us we are violent, we are disgusting, we are inhuman, when all we have done is simply say that we have the right to live. Cowards that think they can make you run, make you hide. Cowards that think that they can scare you into forever silence and make you believe you are nothing, when the truth is you are anything but nothing. You are magnificent. You are superb. You are excellent. And now more than ever, it is time to own that excellence. Do not shrink yourselves. Do not seek their sympathy. They'll never give it to you anyway. Expand. Stand where you are. Strong, compassionate, proud, extraordinary, defiant. Say no, not a chance, absolutely not, when these cowards try to make you think that you are anything but the true heroes of the new world. You know why they hate Israel? It's not because of politics. They hate Israel because Israel represents, among many other things, an unapologetic statement from the Jewish people that we will no longer run. We will no longer hide. We will no longer stay silent. We will no longer be ashamed of our excellence. Someday soon, their rallies will end. Their violence will stop. They will hide. And they will run. And their unbridled war cries will turn back to timid whispers. But you will still be you. Forever loud, forever brave, forever excellent. We don't need anyone else. We are the Jewish people. That is more than enough. That is all there ever was. That is all there is. That is all there ever will be. And that, my friends, that is everything. I'm Israel-Chai.
America. Please welcome, direct from Israel and live with us today, Ishai Ribo!
שמן ששון תחת אבל.
area in Israel known as Otef Aza, the southern communities along the Gaza border. This beautiful area is filled with kibbutzim and moshavim, and home to many that see living in this area as part of a larger peace and coexistence movement. On this typical Shabbat morning, when people were sleeping or out on an early morning jog, a nightmare unfolded. Hamas violence spared no one. Babies, toddlers, teens, the elderly, Holocaust survivors, and entire families brutally terrorized, murdered, and captured. Many are still unaccounted for. In the end, Hamas kidnapped an estimated 240 people, representing at least 25 nationalities, including 10 Americans. Edan Alexander, a graduate of Tenafly High School in New Jersey, was kidnapped that day. He was a soldier in Otef Aza, and his mother had spoken to him just that morning. Here is a video about Edan that his family shared with us. Please turn your attention to the screens.
My son is only 19 years old. He just graduated last year from Tenafly High School. We live in Tenafly, New Jersey. His sister Mika is a senior now in the high school. We just know that he's alive and he's in Gaza, kept by Hamas. You know that he is. They told us that he's alive and he's over there at Gaza, and we're just hoping for him to come back home.
I want people to know that he's just such a happy and lively kid. He cares so much about family and his relationship with me and his our younger brother Roy. And he just will do anything for his friends and anything for his family, and he's just truly like my best friend. You know, I'm 17, he's only 2 years older than me, and I'm patiently waiting for the day that we're going to be reunited again.
With us today is Mika Alexander, Edan's youngest sister. Mika is 17 and goes to high school in New Jersey. When her brother Edan was kidnapped, she was here in the U.S. Since that day, Mika and her family have been doing everything they can to bring Edan home. Mika is here to share with us what she and her family are going through and share a message with all of you. Mika, thank you for coming today. What can you tell us about Edan? How was it growing up as his younger sister?
Growing up as Edan's younger sister, we've always seen how brave he was and how much he cherishes being with family. And when we were younger, we maybe weren't the closest, but as we got older, I started realizing how brave and extraordinary he was. And he always achieved what he wanted, and I will always look up to him till this day.
How did you respond when he told you he wanted to go to Garan Sabar and join the IDF?
I mean, we always knew that his heart was with Israel, and he just always wanted to do something meaningful before he, went to college like his other friends. So this wasn't really a big surprise to us that he wanted to do something for his country and for his family. And as a family, he always puts us first, and he values us so much, and he just appreciates and loves everyone around him, and it's truly inspirational.
I'm sure none of us can imagine what this last month has been for you. Mika, can you please share with us how you're holding up?
Honestly, I've learned how to be patient. Waking up every morning and not knowing what's going on with my brother, it really teaches you a lesson of learning how to stay in tune with yourself and listen to what you need and be able to go around and ask for help. Like, you shouldn't be scared. You should be okay with not being okay. And I learned how specifically to be extremely patient, and it's been paying off.
What would you tell him if you could send him a message right now?
I mean, of course, as you may know, I will tell him that we love him and we love you, and we just really need you to come back. And I know this reunion is going to be insane. Like, talking about this whole experience is just going to be
So it's gonna give me closure, me and the whole family, and yeah.
As we look out and see so many people gather here today, what would you like to say to everyone?
I would just say thank you so much for coming here and supporting this campaign. And we just need to bring Idan and all of the other hostages home now.
Bring them home! Bring them home! Bring them home! Bring them home! Bring them home!
Bring them home. Am Yisrael Chai!
Thank you, everyone!
From the single
My Hebrew name is Tova Felchu. And my Starbucks name is Tova Felchu. What a thrill it is for me to be here. I've played big houses, but ain't never played anything like this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We stand here in the tens of thousands today, and usually, even if you have 10 Jews, you have 10,000 opinions. But today, in the thousands, we stand as one to say, Am Yisrael Chai. The people of Israel live. I stand here short. I was a runner for 40 years, but tall for the almost 200 innocent citizens of Israel, well, almost 200 Israeli children of Israel who are now orphaned, for the 240 innocent citizens of Israel still held in captivity by Hamas. I stand here for the kidnapped babies and the Holocaust survivors abducted and hidden somewhere in Gaza. We stand here together as the yahrzeit candles for over 1,400 slaughtered in the sovereign state of Israel only because they were Jews. Sound familiar? We know that to lose a life is to lose a universe. And as we stand shoulder to shoulder, we transform thousands of our yahrzeit candles into one supernova of light and hope, illuminating the memories of those we have lost and shedding light on the murderers who brought them to their death. We stand here firm against global anti-Semitism. We stand here firm in confrontation of anti-Semitism here in these United States. We stand here to say enough. Maspek, maspik. Our hearts also go out to the Palestinian people who have been used by and suffered at the hands of Hamas to further Hamas's savage agenda. We are now engaged in a battle reaching beyond any Arab-Israeli conflict. We are engaged in a battle fighting for a civilized world. We stand here knowing that the halls of our universities should be havens of enlightenment and moral clarity and not places where Jewish students, Jewish faculty, or any minority feels outcast and afraid of being physically abused. We know college and university presidents, and the righteous one is here today from Dillard, but we know the college and university presidents, if you remain weak, if you remain silent, you are complicit. As Einstein said, the world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them and do nothing. However, since October 7th, amidst the darkness, we've seen glimmers of light. World landmarks lit up in blue and white from New York to Miami, from Paris to Prague and Baku, showing our beloved and brave Israel that she does not stand alone. As Golda Meir, the most important person I've ever had the honor to play, wow, I think Golda may be here today. As Prime Minister Golda Meir said, some people love you, and some people love you and show up. You show up, and that makes all the difference. Indeed, the people of Israel live. So breathe with me now and repeat with me 3 times. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you. God bless you.
please welcome Van Jones.
You look beautiful. You look beautiful. Why am I here? Why am I here? I'm here because the horror and the terror that unfolded in Israel and Palestine have sent shockwaves far beyond their borders that affect and disrupt lives right here in the United States. Now, if you're not Jewish, you may not know this, but since October 7th, there has been literally an explosion of violence against Jewish people, attacks against Jewish people, horrific acts of hatred against Jewish people. The FBI says it's been unprecedented, 400% increase just in the past 3 weeks. If you don't know that, it's because your social media algorithm is not telling you that. And you might want to ask yourself why. But once you know, you cannot be silent. I don't want to be silent because the Jewish community stood with the civil rights movement. It stood with the civil rights movement. Walking arm in arm, facing death, going to jail, the Jewish community stood with the civil rights movement, and I cannot be silent when Jews fall under attack today. I just can't do it. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm here. Now, whatever our different political beliefs and views are about what's happening overseas, you do not have to support all the policies of Israel to support and love and stand with all the people of Israel during a time of profound mourning. During a time of profound mourning. That's why I'm here. Now, like all of us, and as was just said, my heart breaks for all the Israeli children. My heart breaks for all the Palestinian children. And my heart breaks for all of the Jewish American children who are now also living in fear. I pray that every single hostage is released. I pray that. I pray that. Bring him home. Bring him home. Bring him home. And I also pray that Hamas ends its reign of terror. I pray that. I pray that. And I have to say, I'm a peace guy. I'm a peace guy. I pray for peace. No more rockets from Gaza and no more bombs falling down on the people of Gaza. God protect the children. God protect children. Let's end all the horror and all the heartbreak in the Holy Land. Let's end all of it. Let's end all of it. But I'll be honest in closing. When I think about what's happening over there, I don't feel powerful to do something about what's happening over there. What I do feel powerful is to maybe do something about what's happening here. Let's take a stand here against anti-Jewish bigotry. Let's take a stand against Muslims. Let's take a stand here against hatred. Let's take a stand here against hatred of all kinds. I don't want any Jewish mother to be afraid here to drop her baby off at the JCC. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want any Jewish son to be afraid to leave his dorm room and go to the halal center for a meal. I don't want that. I don't want that. And I don't want any rabbi tonight to have to go and buy an extra can of white paint just to be able to paint over a swastika on a synagogue tomorrow morning here in the United States. I don't want that. I don't want that. And I definitely don't want any Jewish daughter, which I just learned, to change her name in her rideshare app because she's afraid for her driver to know that she is Jewish. That should not be happening here. That should not be happening here. So No matter what happens anyplace else, we can do better here. No more horror there. No more hatred here. You are not alone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Please welcome Omer Adam.
under tremendous pressure as a proud Jew, as a freedom-lover person, as a man with a mission.
They came from everywhere, thousands of Jews and non-Jews. They streamed into Washington with but one common agenda.
No, we would not be silent. History will judge. If the world had enough will and resolve to do what you are doing today, to stand up, to speak out, and to make your voices be heard.
Sharansky.
Dear family, when small group of Soviet Jews started to fight to move to Israel, they challenged the most powerful empire, the most cruel dictatorship of those days. And that's why many people thought that their struggle, our struggle, is doomed. How can few men and women bring down the empire of their own? But the fact is that we never thought that we are alone. We knew the Jewish people and the state of Israel is with us. From the small demonstration initiated by 4 students at Columbia University in 1964 to the massive rally of 250,000 Jews just here in this place in 87, there were 3 generations of world Jewry who fought for our freedom. Many of your grandfathers fought for our freedom. Many of your parents fought for our freedom. Many of you fought for our freedom. And that what made all the change. So, when in the long years in prison, I was told again and again that I'm alone, that I'm abandoned, that we failed. It was enough for me simply to remember all those faces of Jews from America, from Britain, from Canada, who were coming to us, to Moscow, to support us, to understand that KGB is lying. Because you were bringing so much love and so much strength to us. This picture of one Jewish fighting family was always in my head. And that is why it was so clear that whatever will be my personal fate, the outcome of our struggle can be only our victory. This clearness that as long as we all stand together and fight together, we will win, is that what gives us hope today in Israel. Because we in Israel go through difficult days. We go from one funeral of the soldier who fell fighting against Hamas yesterday, and another funeral of the family who was tortured and killed 5 weeks ago, but was identified only now. And in between you go to the family whose children were kidnapped, became hostages. And wherever you go, you hear more and more stories about torture and murder. How you keep going? You keep going by doing it together. When our brave soldiers know well that they fight for the future of Israel Jewish people. When all over the country, in solidarity, in mobilization, in devotion, is embracing them, we know we again are one fighting family. Family which is so strong, which has so much love. And you know that there is only one outcome in this battle, our victory. But then we find out that there is another front in this war. And it's not in the tunnels of Gaza, not on the hills of Galil, but in Harvard, in Yale, in Penn, in Columbia, in all those places who are supposed to be the bastions of enlightenment and wisdom. And from these places we hear today the gleeful cheers of those who watch this most barbaric, awful pogrom in modern history and say, that is liberation movement. They speak about democracy and they are ready to give away on the most and the only democratic country in the Middle East. They speak about justice and they are ready to welcome the killers of babies. They speak about feminism and they are ready to welcome rapists of our girls. And, dear friends, we together will fight against those who try to give legitimacy to Hamas. We'll fight for Israel. We'll fight for every Jew. We'll fight against antisemitism. We'll fight for the values and against corruption of those values which are in the center of our Jewish identity and American identity. And now look at those tens of thousands of students who came from Harvard and Yale and New York University and Penn and other places. You're not frightened, you're not silenced. Together we'll win because we are one Jewish family. We defeated Soviet Union, we'll defeat our enemies today. And now I want to introduce two of these young voices of modern fighting family. Michal Biton and Ariel Mokhtar Zadeh. Please.
Were forced to forfeit their homes and their businesses. 44 years ago, the Islamic Republic waged its war of terror and intimidation against the Iranian Jewish community. On October 7th, they waged that war against the international
Jewish community. In the wake of the revolution, my family made the choiceless choice to leave behind everything they knew in pursuit of everything they dreamt could be. That I am standing here before you all today is beyond my parents' wildest dreams. It is also a manifestation of their greatest nightmare, that we still live in a world where Jews can be butchered in broad daylight as the world watches in silence. But my story is not unique. Our stories as Americans and as Jews may be written in different languages, but their arcs are one and the same. Our ancestors risked everything to reestablish themselves in America, a country they dreamed would be free of Jew hatred. Unfortunately, that dream has not yet been realized. However, one thing has changed. We no longer have to make the choiceless choice that our parents and grandparents did. We will not retreat or flee. Their sacrifice demands so much more of us. Thanks to this great nation, we don't have to resort to flight. We can fight with our voices, our votes, and our feet. And we will, because we know that the future of our country and the future of our people are inextricably intertwined. God bless America, and Am Yisrael Chai.
My name is Michal Biton. I stand here as a Latina immigrant and proud American to represent all those who know oppression. I represent my Argentinian community, still haunted by the AMIA bomb that tore us apart, that killed my best friend's father. Its terrorists never brought to justice. I represent my parents-in-law, Egyptian Jews, who fled Nasser's persecution in Egypt as stateless refugees and built new lives here. I represent my Brooklyn neighbors, Syrian Jews who were held as virtual prisoners in Aleppo and in Damascus, stuck for decades behind an iron curtain of hate. I stand here for all of us who remember that in every generation they stand up against us to destroy us. And for all of us who thank God that America and Israel changed the world and became our safe havens. We stand here, united, proud, as Americans who are going to fight back against terror, who will fight back against anti-Semitism everywhere, in our streets and in our universities. We stand here in support of Israelis whose fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters and sons and daughters and friends were murdered or taken captive. We stand here in support of our Israeli nation, who has stood up like a nation of lions. A nation of lions. liberate Israeli and Palestinian children from the nightmare of Hamas. We stand here in the capital of this extraordinary country that has blessed us with freedom our ancestors could never have dreamed of. Here, in this promised land that requires each and every one of us to pursue and expand freedom with all of our might. I stand here as a Jewish woman bearing 4,000 years of history from Abraham to my 4-year-old daughter. Proud of our people who will never ever give up hope. Proud of our people who will always seek to partner with others to heal our fractured world. I stand here as an immigrant to this country that I love and call my own, ready to join with anybody who has tasted the opposite of freedom and breathe new life into our great American dream. This is our calling. Our time is now. Our work is urgent. So let us fight with everything we have, with our voices, with our feet, with our votes, with our prayers. Let us fight together against hatred and for life. May the one above bless us with the courage and the strength to write a new chapter of peace and freedom in this nation, in Israel, and around the entire world.
Please welcome the Chair of the Board of Trustees of the Jewish Federations of North America, Julie Platt.
Wow! I'm looking out at over 200,000 gathered here today. Thank you for coming. Today, our thoughts are with the victims and survivors of October 7th, with the innocent Israeli and Palestinians suffering because of Hamas's terror, and with the families with empty seats at the dinner table. Today, our thoughts are with the brave soldiers of Israel's defense forces as they defend the state of Israel and the Jewish people. We thank the lone soldiers serving with such courage and all the families who must display courage every day. We also thank the first responders who have shown such incredible heroism. One of them is here with us today, Yossi Landau, Commander Zakai South. Today, our thoughts are with all the Jews around the world who have been the victims of anti-Semitic hate and violence. Most of all, today our thoughts are with the Israeli people as they seek peace and security. I now have the tremendous honor of introducing our cherished friend and our collective hero. We know him, we trust him, we admire him, and we are filled with gratitude for his strong leadership. Friends, joining us live from the eternal capital of the State of Israel, Jerusalem, please welcome the President of Israel, Isaac Herzog.
Thank you, Julie. Shalom, friends, sisters and brothers, achyotai ve'echai. I am speaking to you from the single most sacred site in the Jewish world, the Kotel, the Western Wall in Jerusalem. The Kotel that reminds us that Am Israel, we, the people of Israel, are eternal and no one will break us. From the Jewish symbol of fulfillment of our ancient dreams, to the American symbols of freedom, liberty, and democracy. Thank you. Thank you to the hundreds of thousands who've gathered from all over the United States, all people of goodwill, friends from different communities, faiths, and denominations who've gathered today for this massive show of solidarity. In the state of Israel's darkest moment, you stood up and declared, Hineni, I am here. We are here. There's no greater and more just cause than this. Today, we come together as a family, one big mishpacha, to march for Israel, to march for the babies, the boys and girls, women and men viciously held hostage by Hamas, to march for the right of every Jew to live proudly and safely in America, in Israel, and all around the world. Above all, we come together to march for good over evil, for human morality over bloodthirst. We march for light over darkness. 80 years ago, Jews came out of Auschwitz and vowed never again. As the blue and white flag was hoisted over our ancient homeland, we vowed never again. 40 days ago, a terrorist army invaded the sovereign state of Israel and butchered hundreds upon hundreds of Israelis in the largest massacre since the Holocaust. Let us cry out together, never again, never again, never again is now. The Hamas savagery and crimes against humanity bring to my mind, as President Biden has said, the worst rampages of ISIS. We, the people of Israel, are grateful to President Biden, his administration, and so many members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. The moral clarity and bold actions of our American allies demonstrate the depth of the U.S.-Israel alliance, which is stronger than ever before. Since October 7th, Israeli society and the Jewish people have truly come together in unison. We feel our hearts beat as one. We hear our brothers and sisters' blood crying out to us from the ground, Kol dmei achicha tzoakim elai min ha'adama. Once again in Jewish history, we demand, let our people go. Whilst our loved ones are held captive in Gaza and our soldiers are fighting for our beloved Israel, Jews all over the world are assaulted for being Jewish. The hatred, the lies, the brutality, the disgraceful outburst of ancient anti-Semitism are an embarrassment to all civilized people and nations. Jews in America must be safe. Jews all over the world must be safe. I salute you, the women and men who stand up to massive hatred and pressure in the community or on campus. Just as you stand with us, we stand with you. Dear brothers and sisters, dear friends, as President of the State of Israel, Medinat Israel, I vow to you from Jerusalem, from the Kotel, that we will heal, we will rise again, and we will rebuild. To paraphrase the prophet Zechariah, boys and girls shall once again play in the streets of Be'eri and Sderot, and the elderly shall sit peacefully by the walkways of Nachal Oz and Ofakim. And when the sounds of life and laughter return to the villages, the kibbutzim and the cities, our constant yearning for peace will return as well. Together we pray for the safe return of our hostages. Together we pray for the full recovery of the wounded. And together we pray for our beloved sons and daughters in the IDF. May God bless them and keep them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmor v'yatzil et chayaleinu. Together we grieve and together we shall overcome. Am Yisrael Chai. God bless Israel. God bless America.
Please join Cantor Chaim Burson from New York in the prayer for the IDF. please welcome the Chair of the Conference of Presidents, Harriet Schleifer.
Thank you. Before I introduce our next speaker, I want to welcome the ambassadors from Cyprus, Greece, Guatemala, Jamaica, and North Macedonia, along with Ambassador Gilad Erdan from Israel. Welcome. As the daughter of two Holocaust survivors, I march for Israel. As a Jew, and together with you, people of goodwill and moral clarity, we march against anti-Semitism. And as a mother and ordinary citizen, I march, we march, for the hostages to be freed. Bring them home. Bring them home. Bring them home. Scroll. We stand here in a city often divided along partisan lines, but not when it comes to Israel. Democrats and Republicans alike are standing up and speaking out, decrying anti-Semitism, demanding an end to Hamas's reign of terror, and supporting the Israeli people as they seek peace, justice, and the safe return of our hostages. Later today, we'll hear from congressional leaders in both parties who have come to show their support. They are true friends of Israel. And we have another true friend of Israel living up at the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue. President Joe Biden has been a steadfast ally and champion of our shared values. The president's visit of condolence and friendship to Israel after October 7th moved Israelis to the core. We are grateful for his leadership. And now I am honored to introduce his special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism, the wonderful Ambassador Deborah Lipstadt.
ועדיין לא מצאתי איך לומר שאת נהר מים מתוקים במלח המדבר. בטח תחשבי שזה מוזר.
230 years ago, President George Washington reassured the Jews of Newport that our new nation would give bigotry no sanction and persecution no assistance. His meaning and his message were quite specific. In the United States of America, the bigotry of anti-Semitism must have no place, no quarter, no haven, no home. Anti-Semitism, or more explicitly, Jew hatred, the world's longest, oldest form of prejudice, has pierced and permeated too many countries, too many cultures, faith communities. It comes at us from all political, religious, and cultural directions. Groups that agree on nothing else agree on their suspicion and hatred of Jews. And if we needed any reminder about the validity of that claim, the past 5 weeks have made it plain. So today, as a representative of President Biden and Vice President Harris and the United States government, I can tell you without hesitation, regardless of party or political persuasion, at the White House or in the Congress, at home and abroad, this government stands shoulder to shoulder against Jew hatred. We stand arm in arm to combat anti-Semitism wherever it hides or attempts to reside. We echo our founding father unequivocally and unreservedly. Today in America, we give anti-Semitism no sanction, no foothold, no tolerance, not on campus, not in grade school, not in our neighborhoods, not in our streets of our cities, not in our government, nowhere, not now, not ever. The reason is simple. Anti-Semitism is wrong. It is hateful. It is an immediate threat to Jews everywhere, and that alone would be sufficient reason to combat it. But anti-Semitism is far more than just that. It is an affront to the integrity of our laws. It is a gateway to prejudice, racism, injustice of every form. It is a direct danger to our democracy. And we, the United States government, will fight it. Full stop. I have the honor and responsibility to travel the world, to wage this fight in foreign lands. And in the past 5 weeks, I have visited many of our major European allies. And the message I deliver and the message I hear everywhere is unmistakable. No sanction for anti-Semitism. When Holocaust memorials are vandalized in Canada, France, Greece, Denmark, or the United States, when Molotov cocktails are thrown at synagogues in Berlin and Montreal, when Jews peacefully protesting are physically or verbally intimidated, when Jewish children are harassed, when protesters chant, "Gas the Jews," when Jewish stars are painted on buildings housing Jews, that is not expressing support for Palestinian rights. That is Jew hatred, pure and simple. We must not be blind to the hate implicit in the widespread celebrations of Hamas's October 7th killing spree. When protesters chant, "Peace and glory to the martyrs," that incites more hatred, more deaths. It is a danger to the values and underpinning of the stability and decency of any society anywhere in the world. Hate is not a zero-sum game. Hate and violence directed at any member of our society because of who they are is un-American and wrong. Thankfully, countries once beset by anti-Semitism are acting to counter it. Our major European allies have deployed legions of police officers to protect Jewish institutions. But there are some countries that are spreading and fostering hatred of Jews. The world must unite to condemn and combat it. Today, gathered before me on this mall are people of all faiths, beliefs, identities, and backgrounds. You are united by your abhorrence of Jew hatred and your recognition of its lethal nature. We are grateful for the myriad of law enforcement personnel who protect us, and please remember to thank them. that no group of Americans should have to live that way. They should live free, in need of no protection, unflinching and unafraid. Let me be clear. Do not sink to the level of those who harass you. Do not tear down posters. Do not intimidate those who disagree with you. Do not block their path or taunt them as they do to you. But do not cower. Allow no one to make you afraid. The message is built into the Jewish people's most ancient history. Jews are strongest at their broken places. Know that this nation's leaders are determined to oppose anti-Semitism at every turn. They are by your side now and long into the future. The fight will be a long one, but Jews have faced such challenges before and have overcome them. You who hate this evil will prevail because this cause has justice wholly on its side. The fight will be won because there is no other option. And because, as President Washington reassured the Jews of Newport, this nation gives bigotry no sanction. And 230 years later, that still holds true. Chazak ve'ematz. Chazak ve'ematz, be strong and of good courage. Thank you for that strength. Thank you for that courage. Thank you.
Please welcome back to the stage Harriet Schleifer and Julie Platt.
We are pleased to welcome to the stage the bipartisan, bicameral leadership from the United States Senate and House of Representatives.
From the United States Senate, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. From the House of Representatives, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson.
From the House of Representatives, Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries. And representing the Senate Republican leadership, Senator Joni Ernst.
Thank you, everybody. We are here united, Democrat and Republican, House and Senate, to say we stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. We stand. We stand. We stand. We stand. We stand. Now, my friends, there are no words for the horror that happened 1 month ago in Israel. The most Jews killed in a single day since the Holocaust. It brings back much darker days. And let us not forget history. History shows that when the world ignored anti-Semitism in the last century, it led to the worst catastrophe in human history. 6 million Jews murdered in the Holocaust. Let us not forget history. History shows that Israel was almost destroyed in 1967 and in 1973. We cannot, we must not let that happen again. Let us not forget history. History shows that anti-Semitism has been deep in the core of Europe for centuries, and that too many European nations have never been friends of Israel. And history shows that when anti-Semitism rears its ugly head, if it's not dealt with forcefully and directly, it grows into a deadly force. But my friends, history reminds us also of one thing, that even in its darkest days, the United States has always stood with Israel, and we will do everything to see that that never, ever changes. USA, 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 we are with Israel. Let us not forget, my friends, the evils of Hamas. When Hamas says from the river to the sea, they mean all of present-day Israel should be a Jewish free land. In fact, Hamas has said that what they did, the horror that they did on October 7th to the Jewish communities near the Gaza border, they should do to all Israelis. Just look at Hamas's founding document. It says, is that a Jew behind the tree? Cut down the tree so you can shoot him. That is the evil of Hamas. Never, never, never will we forget the evil of Hamas. Never again, never again, never again, never again. Now, my friends, the hostages, some of whose families are here. I hear there are parents here whose little 3-year-old girl was kidnapped by the evil Hamas. When I went to Israel a few weeks ago, right after the 7th, I met with the families of those being held, with 5 senators, Democrat and Republican. I heard of parents whose little babies were taken. I heard of brothers whose sisters were killed. I heard horrible stories about the brutality of Hamas, and the 5 of us, Democratic and Republican senators, wept and cried for a whole hour. The sadness was so great, the evil so horrible. We will continue fighting for the release of all hostages till they return to safety. Let them go. Let them go. Bring them home. Bring them home. Bring them home. Like so many Jewish people, the horrors of October 7th reminded me of what happened to my ancestors in Western Ukraine when the Nazis invaded. So the minute I heard of what happened in January 7th, I knew I had to go to Israel. As the first-ranking Jewish Senate Majority Leader, in fact, the highest-ranking Jewish elected official in American history, I not only had a desire to go to Israel, I felt a special obligation to go. When I got off the plane, Israel was still shaken from what happened. I said to the Israeli people, Israel, we in America have your back. America feels your pain. We ache with you. We stand with you. And we will not rest until you get all the assistance you need. We will not rest until you get the assistance you need. My friends, in conclusion, Hamas's goal was to scare us. Those perpetrating the poison of anti-Semitism and bigotry around the world are trying to scare us. But we will not allow history to slide back to the days of the Holocaust when Jews were targeted and murdered and butchered. Instead, the Jewish people will be resilient, And today all of you are here showing we will not hide in the face of adversity. In America and in Israel, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 The people Israel here in America and in Israel, the Jewish people will live forever.
Well, it is so good to be with you all. What an extraordinary crowd, and it was organized in just a few days. It's amazing, amazing. There are few issues in Washington that could so easily bring together leaders of both parties in both chambers, but the survival of the state of Israel and her people unites us together, and it unites all Americans, all Americans. Let me be very clear. The United States stands unequivocally with our neighbor, our friend, our ally, Israel. They're neighbors in a global sense, that's right. Last week, a bipartisan group of members stood in solidarity on the steps of the House to mourn the lives in the October 7th attack and to grieve with the families of Israeli hostages that are still being held in Gaza. We heard heartbreaking and tragic accounts of their kidnappings. And of course, as you know, many of those families haven't received an update on their well-being since that day. As a parent myself, I can begin to comprehend their despair. All of us feel that way. This morning, we watched the horrific film that was produced by Hamas from their own cameras as they committed the assault. It's unspeakable. The auditorium was full of Republicans and Democrats in the House, and they wept as we watched the film together. Most couldn't sit through it. These Israeli hostages were kidnapped in their homes by barbaric Hamas terrorists for simply being Jewish and living in Israel. As Prime Minister Netanyahu says so well, this is a fight between good and evil, between light and darkness, between civilization and barbarism. The calls for a ceasefire are outrageous. We stand with you in that. Hamas terrorists waged the bloodiest assault on Jewish lives since the Holocaust, and there are hundreds of hostages, many of them Americans, still stuck inside Gaza. Israel will cease their counteroffensive when Hamas ceases to be a threat to the Jewish state. But Hamas's genocidal and anti-Semitic rhetoric isn't just confined to Gaza, as you know. The war in Israel has awakened an alarming amount of anti-Semitism towards Jewish people here in the United States and across the globe. From the halls of Congress to college campuses, this rise of anti-Semitism must be stopped. We've heard many echo the Hamas rallying cry of "from the river to the sea," and I'm convinced that a lot of these college students that are engaging in these protests do not understand that is an explicit call for the extermination of Israel. It is happening daily in our country, as you know, and it is unacceptable for Jewish Americans to feel unsafe at home. It is unacceptable for Jewish businesses to face violence, vandalism, and threats. It is unacceptable for universities to allow Hamas apologists to assault and accost Jewish students on campus. It is unacceptable for any political leader in this nation to give credence to this dangerous rhetoric. We can and we must do more to stand with our great ally and friend. And it is my hope that this gathering today serves as a reminder to the entire world, but also to those within our own borders, that the United States stands proudly with Israel and the Jewish people forever, forever. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of this. God bless you.
Schumer, Speaker Johnson, Senator Ernst, all those assembled, Shalom. What an honor and a blessing to stand with you in solidarity during this very difficult moment for the Jewish people and for Israel. Hamas brutally attacked Israel on October 7th because Hamas wants to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. So let me be clear. We will never let that happen. Congress will continue to support in a bipartisan way the state of Israel and Israel's unequivocal right to exist as a Jewish and democratic state always and forever. Always and forever. Always and forever. From the very beginning of this conflict, President Joe Biden has strongly supported the state of Israel. And I strongly support President Biden's supplemental funding request for Israel, for Ukraine, and for humanitarian assistance. We must also decisively address the cancer of anti-Semitism with the fierce urgency of now. An attack on any of us is an attack on all of us. And we are going to do everything possible to stop the anti-Semitic attacks against our Jewish brothers and sisters. The United States and Israel have a special relationship. Our commitment to Israel's security is ironclad. And let me be clear, Israel has an absolute right to defend itself against Hamas terror. There's a question on the minds of many of us. Where do we go from here? We must stand with Israel in its effort to decisively defeat Hamas and make sure that this brutal terrorist regime can never rise again. We must make sure that every single hostage is returned home safely. And then we must stand together to secure a just and lasting peace between Israel and the Palestinian people. The special relationship between the United States and Israel is, yes, rooted in our shared values and our shared strategic interests. But the moral case for Israel is anchored in the painful history of the Jewish people. For centuries, Jews have been persecuted, brutalized by anti-Semitism, and violently thrown out of country after country. The Jewish people were violently expelled from Jerusalem by the Roman Empire. The Jewish people were violently expelled from Alexandria. The Jewish people were violently expelled from France. The Jewish people were violently expelled from England. The Jewish people were violently expelled from Spain. The Jewish people were violently expelled from Switzerland. The Jewish people were violently expelled from Portugal. The Jewish people were violently expelled from countries all throughout Europe. The Jewish people were violently expelled from the Middle East. The Jewish people were systematically murdered by the Nazi regime. The Jewish people were violently attacked by Hamas on October 7th, resulting in the largest loss of Jewish life in a single day since the Holocaust. So we are here, more than 100,000 people strong, to unequivocally declare never again. Never again. Never again. The state of Israel must always exist as a safe haven for the Jewish people. And so we stand together with the Jewish community in Israel. We stand together with the Jewish community in America. We stand together with the Jewish community all throughout the world. We stand together in the effort to crush anti-Semitism. We stand together in the effort to crush anti-Jewish hate. We stand together in the effort to bring home the hostages. We stand together in the effort to make sure that America will always be a safe space for the Jewish community in every single zip code. God bless the hostages. God bless Israel. God bless the United States of America.
United States of America, do you stand with Israel? Folks, I am here today as a longtime friend and staunch supporter of our greatest partner in the Middle East, Israel. In December 2014, before I was even sworn in to the United States Senate, I visited Kibbutz Nir Oz in southern Israel by the Gaza border, one of the kibbutzim that was hit the hardest by Hamas on October 7th. Israel and her people hold a very special place in my heart. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here to show your unwavering support for our Jewish brothers and sisters. What Iran-backed Hamas perpetrated on October 7th was pure evil, and those monsters deserve nothing short of complete and total destruction. Three days after the heinous terror attacks, I was on the ground in Israel, meeting with American and Israeli families, and sitting across the table from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as opposition leader Lapid. We heard from a father who rushed over from the funeral of his son's 18-year-old best friend, who had just been brutally murdered at the hands of Hamas. We spoke with the family of an 80-year-old father of 5, a peace activist who drove Palestinian children to doctor's appointments, who was kidnapped from his home during the invasion. With tears in their eyes, his family recounted the inhumanity of the attack, the destruction of their home, and ultimately the death of their brother while he was valiantly defending their home and family. In every meeting, the message was abundantly clear. Do not let the United States cower when the world starts to. Stand steadfastly in your solidarity. So we are here today as Republicans and as Democrats to assure you we will not shrink back and shudder in fear we will not shudder in fear as too many around the world already have. We will not sit quiet as anti-Semitism is being promulgated in classrooms and campuses around the country. The brutal reality of Hamas cannot be diminished. They murder babies. They rape women. They abuse the elderly. They killed 30 of our fellow Americans, hundreds of our Israeli friends, and are currently, right now, holding 200 innocent men, women, and children hostage. How anyone in America could sympathize with these terrorists is truly unfathomable. Friends, There should not be a shred of anti-Semitism in our country. Not now, not ever. Not only today, but in the coming weeks and months, as Israel fights to secure their most basic human right, the right to life, the United States must remain resolute. In the Senate, we will continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with all of you, our Jewish friends in Israel, the United States, and around the world. May God be with those who have lost a loved one, those who are waiting on the phone for an update about a son or daughter, those who are facing unprecedented harassment and hostility, and those whose family members bravely serving in the Middle East. And may God bless Israel. God bless Israel. As she rightly defends herself against Hamas's brutal attacks, Israel, the United States, will always have your back.
Let's hold up our hands and go. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel.
צהריים טובים, קהל יקר ואהוב. אנחנו ממש מרגישים זכות להיות כאן היום איתכם. זו הזדמנות גם לומר תודה לתמיכה הגדולה של ארצות הברית שמאפשרים את המעמד האדיר הזה. לא מובן מאליו. היום זה ראש חודש כסלו, ובראש חודש כסלו אנחנו יודעים שזה החודש שבו האור גבר על החושך. ועכשיו אני רואה מול העיניים שלי אור אין סוף. יש פה מלא אור, והוא ודאי גבר על החושך הזה שחווינו בשבת הקשה הזאת. אבל מאז התגלה בעם שלנו, בתוך הכאב ובתוך השבר, התגלו עוצמות אדירות של אהבה, של נתינה, של חסד, של עין טובה. כל הפילוג שהיה נעלם והפכנו להיות לב אחד. והיום אנחנו כאן במעמד עם מאות אלפי יהודים ותומכי ישראל ואוהבי ישראל. מעמד היסטורי. אז אני רוצה לנצל את הבמה הזאת איתכם ולומר פרק תהילים שכתב דוד המלך, ככה בכוונה גדולה
שיהיה לזכות עם ישראל, שיהיה לזכות חיילי צה"ל, שיהיה לזכות הילדים, הילדות והמשפחות שנמצאות שם בשבי, שיחזרו בריאים בגופם ובנפשם. ושיהיה לזכות הביחד הזה, כמו שכתוב, שהיה במעמד הר סיני, שזה לדעתי הכי קרוב למעמד הר סיני בכמות, שנזכה להיות כאיש אחד בלב אחד לנצח. אז נגיד פסוק ואתם תחזרו אחריי. שיר המעלות אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם אדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ. אל יתן למוט רגליך, אל ינום שומריך. הנה לא ינום ולא ישן שומר ישראל. על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יככה וירח בלילה. אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם. שיר למעלות אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם השם, עושה שמיים וארץ. אל יתן למוט רגליך, אל ינום שומריך. הנה לא ינום ולא ישן שומר ישראל. השם שומריך, השם צילך, על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יככה וירח בלילה. השם ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. השם ישמור צאתך ובואך.
see clearly now. We see naked, virulent Jew hatred being disguised as a noble call for liberation, and we reject it. What does Israel's defensive response to a terrorist attack have to do with an elderly Jewish man in California flag? This is terrorism. But we will win. We always have. We are strong, resilient, and devoted, and we will not lose ourselves. We will worry for our global Jewish family and also hurt for the innocent Palestinians used as human shields by Hamas. Hate us, deny our humanity and our right to exist. No matter. We know who we are. We know that even, especially in darkness, we stand united, proud, resolute, with absolute moral certitude in our light. Like our ancestors, who for 3,000 years looked hate straight in the eyes, we too will prevail. We will take care of each other. We will take care of our brothers and sisters in Israel. We will fight and we will love ferociously. Our light will shine until the darkness is defeated. The world to move on. We must not rest until these families are made whole. We have a number of them here with us today. In solidarity with them, I'd like to ask you to hold up your placards, their faces, for a moment of silence. Thank you. I now have the honor of introducing 3 family members of hostages, Orna Nutra, Ilana Zaitchik, and Rachel Goldberg. May their courage and strength inspire us all.
Good afternoon.
My name is Orna Nutra, and I am Omer's mom. Omer, born 1 month after 9/11, celebrated his 22nd birthday only a few weeks ago, captive by Hamas. Omer is a warm, optimistic, and people-loving person. Everywhere he goes, he immediately makes new friends. He is this big guy, 6'2", always with a smile on his face. In some ways, Omer grew up like any other kid on Long Island. He is truly a member of this wonderful Jewish community. He's crazy about sports, any sports, but he especially loves basketball. He was always a leader. Whether the captain of his high school, the Schechter School of Long Island, or the regional president of his youth group, USY. He is also a dual citizen of both the United States and Israel, and was raised with a love and a passion for both of his homelands. So naturally, after graduating high school, he decided to take a gap year in Israel to connect with his roots. And the closer he grew to his new Israeli friends, the more he reflected on his own identity. As a descendant of Holocaust survivors on both sides, he understood the importance of a strong Israel. So, being the person that he is, he made the decision to join his new friends and serve in the IDF and protect the country. He was drafted as a lone soldier in the Armored Corps. He was protecting people when he was taken by Hamas. And since then, our lives have turned upside down. From a place of deep pain, we hold strong for you, Omer. We speak in your name tirelessly. We hope and pray and we act. And I must believe that our prayers and actions have power. Omer, you're not just my beloved son. You touch so many in deep and profound ways.
Bring them home. 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 Bring them home.
Your friends, their parents, whole communities, both here and around the world, are praying and working for your safe return. And to everyone gathered here today, I want to tell you that there is power in speaking Omer's name, posting his picture, and keeping his story in the public eye, calling your representatives every single day. There is power in showing him the same love and compassion he has spent his young life showing everyone he meets. We all must use the power that we have to help bring Omer and all of the hostages home now.
Bring them home. Bring them home. Bring them home.
Thank you.
Bring them home. Bring them home.
My name is Alana Zajcik, and I'm here to tell you about love. On October 7th, my cousin, Sharon, her husband, David, their 3-year-old twins, Emma and Yuli, my cousin Danielle, her 5-year-old daughter Amelia, all 6 of them were brutally kidnapped from kibbutz Nir Oz. While the kibbutz was ravaged by Hamas, they hid in their bomb shelter for hours until it filled with smoke and they could not hide any longer, at which point Sharon sent a haunting voice note to her family group chat. We're not going to make it out of this. We love you. Going to make it out of this. We love you. The pain I have experienced since they were taken has been so sharp, it follows my every breath. I wake up each morning to remember this truth. My family is being held hostage by terrorists. I am here with you because I love my family, and I promised I would scream to the ends of the earth for them. This unwavering love of family is the heart of what it means to be Jewish, and it is, more importantly, the heart of what it means to be human. But for too many in the West, the suffering of hostage families like mine has become a footnote, collateral damage in service of some perceived higher universal truth. For too many, it feels like to care about one family, to love one child, is to diminish the suffering of another. But the simple human truth is that you don't have to choose. You can abhor the suffering of Palestinian families and the suffering of Israeli families like mine. You can call for peace and the immediate return of the innocent men, women, and children who were violently taken from us. It doesn't need to be political to share in my grief or in the anguish that the Israeli people are feeling. To demand the release of the hostages is not an act of politics, nor is it a cry for war. It is an act of love and a cry for humanity. And love is the only thing that can repair our shattered hearts and bring us back together in the name of peace. Thank you.
My name is Rachel, and I am the mother of Hirsch Goldberg Poland, a wounded civilian American-Israeli kidnapped from the music festival on October 7th. Right now, how we are living is hard to describe to you. We hostage families have lived the last 39 days in slow motion torment. For 38 nights, none of us have slept the real sleep of the before. We all have third-degree burns on our souls. Our hearts are bruised and seeping with misery. But the real souls suffering are those of the hostages. And they want to ask everyone in the world, all the screamers, the indifferent, the experts, the academics, the knowledgeable, the passives, the perfectly outraged, the righteous, the indignant, the haters, the leaders, the lovers, the every single one of us. Why? Why is the world accepting that 240 human beings from almost 30 countries have been stolen and buried alive? These children of God range in age from 9 months to 87 years. They are Christians, Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, and Hindu. Why are they being left underground in the dirt? Abigail Moore Idan is 3 years old. She watched her parents get murdered in front of her and was then kidnapped. And she would like me to ask the world, why are you letting her stay in the dark, in her trauma, buried in the earth's crust? And Joshua Molel, who is a Tanzanian African graduate student studying agribusiness, would like for me to ask you why somehow his life actually doesn't matter. The world must prepare what we will say to them. There was a Christian German who hid Jews during the Holocaust, and he was asked why he did such a heroic and dangerous act. His answer was simple. At least I will know when I die and stand before God, he will not ask me what he asked Cain in the Bible. Where were you when your brother's blood cried out from the ground? What the world needs to start thinking about today is, what will your excuse be? Bring them home now. Bring them home.
Please welcome the co-chairs of the Bipartisan Congressional Caucus to Combat Anti-Semitism, Senator Jackie Rosen, Senator James Lankford, Representative Chris Smith, and Representative
A prayer for the hostages. God of mercy and compassion, we pray, we plead that you bless, protect, and guard those of your people, Israel, and of your people from all faiths and all nations, mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, soldiers, civilians, adults, youth, and babies, the captured and the missing, who have been cruelly and heartlessly torn from their homes and carried off.
May God have compassion on them and bring them out from darkness and the shadow of death. May God break their bonds, deliver them from their distress, and bring them swiftly back to their families' embrace. As we read in the words of the prophet Jeremiah, restrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work will be rewarded, declares the Lord. They will return from the land of the enemy.
And so we pray before you, O God of redemption, fulfill speedily the words of Genesis. Quote, "Here I am with you. I will watch over you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land. Indeed, I will not leave you until I have done what I have said to you."
May the Holy One do all that must be done, so that relief, rescue, and long life may be the lot of every one of the civilians and the soldiers who have been taken captive. We pray in the words of the 130th Psalm, Shir Hama'alot Mima'akim Karaticha Adonai. Out of the depths have we called you, O Lord. O Lord, hear our voices. Be attentive to our supplications, and let us say together, Amen.
Amen.
welcome back to the stage, the Maccabees.
Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael. Let's have our voices be heard. Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael. Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael. Hanisunim batzara, batzara. Shivya haomdim bein bayam uvein bayabasha. Achenu kol beis Yisrael. Achenu kol beis Yisrael. Hanisu So today is all about unity. So we want to invite to the stage a very, very special friend. Everyone, please give it up for Matisyahu.
My friends, my brothers and sisters, the Jewish state is under attack. Jewish attack. October 7th, I received a call from a senior IDF general who shouted, "Israel is at war. We are at war." Since then, our lives have changed. Thousands of Hamas terrorists infiltrated dozens of Israeli communities and tortured, murdered, and kidnapped every civilian they could find. They not only committed unimaginable atrocities, they documented and celebrated them. Let me be clear. We did not start this war, but we must finish it. We must finish the war to ensure that the Hamas murder machine in Gaza is dismantled for good. We must finish the war to send a loud and clear message to Hamas's evil sponsors in Iran and Iranian proxies. Israel will never tolerate any attack on our soil. And we must finish this war to return the hostages. To you and to the families, I say, we will leave no stone unturned until we bring them back home. Bring them back home. There is simply no other choice for a nation that values life. Thankfully, we are not alone. The majority of Americans stand firmly with Israel. Thank you to President Biden and his administration for your steadfast support. Thank you to the numerous members of Congress from both sides of the aisle. Some of them are here for raising your voices in support of Israel. We will not forget your backing during these dark days. And now, let me say to all of you, the hundreds of thousands of people gathered here today, you are incredible. You give us strength. Now is the time to raise your voice. We are witnessing mass rallies around the globe and also here in the US, vilifying Israel, glorifying Hamas, and celebrating the murder of Jews. We are witnessing Jewish students assaulted and silenced on college campuses. We are witnessing Jewish demonstrators attacked and in some cases killed. The dark demons of anti-Semitism have been unleashed. The choice between good and evil has never been clearer. Do you stand with a terror organization that kills women, children, and the elderly in cold blood? Or do you stand with a democracy that does... Do you stand with a democracy that does everything in its power to protect civilian life on both sides? My friends, there are defining moments in history, and this is one of them. At this moment, no one can remain silent. we must raise our voices in support of the one and only Jewish state. Raise our voices against those who oppose Israel's right to defend itself. Raise our voices when we see Jew hatred being spewed unchecked. Raise our voices loud to denounce Hamas for what it is, the barbaric ISIS-like terror organization. Raise our voices loud to bring all the hostages back home. And raise our voices loud for those who no longer have a voice. My friends and my brothers and sisters, we are a grieving nation, yet we are united and determined. And together with you, through our shared voices, values, and strength, together, we will defeat evil and we will prevail. Am Israel Chai.
Please welcome Pastor John Hagee, Dillard University President Dr. Rochelle Ford, and Anila Ali.
I want you to shout that loud enough for them to hear it in Jerusalem. Ready? Jerusalem, Israel, you are not alone. Israel, you are not alone. Israel, you're not alone. While the Jewish state faces the greatest danger since her rebirth 75 years ago, we pray for the people of Israel and the leaders of Israel. May God give you the wisdom of Solomon and the courage of King David and the victories of Joshua. You, the leaders of Israel, and you alone should determine how this war is going to be conducted and concluded. You decide, no one else. Israel has shown the world that it overcame the tragedy of the Holocaust through the power of hope. Israel has demonstrated the courage to make peace with its neighbors. Israel has always proved that it has the strength to wage war against its enemies. From the 5 Arab armies that tried to destroy the newly reborn state in 1948, to Hamas and Hezbollah, Iran's proxy armies, to my Jewish brothers and sisters, it is tempting to look at the present darkness and think that nothing has changed. However, things have changed. More than 40 years ago, I joined forces with an Orthodox rabbi, Rabbi Scheinberg, to bring Christians and Jews together in mutual love and respect. We stood shoulder to shoulder and we made this declaration. If a line has to be drawn, then draw that line around both Christians and Jews. We are one. We are one. We are one. Today we extend that line around everyone who is gathered here. We must all stand united with one voice and boldly declare over and over, Israel, you are not alone. After the October 7th massacre, we must all make choices. We either choose to love life or we choose death. We choose peace or terror. We choose Israel or Hamas. There is no middle ground in this conflict. You're either for the Jewish people or you're not. Look at history. From Pharaoh to Haman to Hitler, all of these anti-Semitic cowards are remembered only for their failed attempt to destroy God's chosen people. And Hamas is going to suffer the same fate. To Israel's enemies, making threats against Israel is nothing more than a self-fulfilling prophecy about yourself. When you speak of Israel passing away with a sudden storm, you're only speaking of your own demise. Where are the nations that have persecuted the Jewish people? They are historic footnotes in the boneyard of human history. Where is Israel and the Jewish people? Despite the efforts of Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah to destroy the Jewish nation, Israel lives! Israel lives! Israel lives! Israel may be shaken, but she is not shattered. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob guarantees Israel's deliverance will come, as proclaimed every year during Passover. It says, in every generation they rise against Israel to destroy it. And the Holy One, blessed be He, saves Israel from their hands. The Bible says, He that keepeth Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. To those who seek to justify the slaughter of Israelis by demonizing the Jewish state, Israel is not merely a state. When millions of Zionists mention Israel, they don't just mean the only freedom-loving democracy. Israel is this and more. Israel is the apple of God's eye. Israel is the shining city on the hill. Israel says, God says of Israel, Israel is my firstborn son. Jerusalem is the city of God. Jerusalem is the shoreline of eternity. Jerusalem is the eternal capital of Israel, today and forever. There is only one nation whose flag will fly over the ancient walls of the sacred city of Jerusalem. That nation is Israel, now and forever. Those of us standing here and millions of other Christians were not here during the Holocaust, but we're here now. And we stand shoulder to shoulder with the Jewish people. We stand until those 240 hostages are returned to their homes. For where there is unity, God Almighty will command His blessings. When America was attacked in World War II, victory was our only aim. and Israel should be afforded that same opportunity. For history has shown that without victory, there is no survival. Israel has victory, and that victory will come when all of the hostages are safely home. Israel's victory comes when the terror tunnels have been destroyed. Israel's victory will come when Hamas and Hezbollah are in the ash heap of history along with Haman and Hitler. There is no substitute for victory. May God bless Israel. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless the Jewish people. And may God bless all who have gathered here today until we overcome the tyranny of the Middle East. Israel, you are not alone today, tomorrow, and forever. God bless the Jewish state.
God's timing is always perfect. For about 6 months, Rabbi Ari Berman, Yeshiva's president, and I have been trying to meet regarding partnerships with Dillard University's revived National Center for Black-Jewish Relations. We finally connected on October 11th when Rabbi Berman just returned from Israel. His heart was heavy, and I said to him, the Bible says that the Jewish people won when Moses held his arms up. But who was holding Moses' arms? It was Aaron and Hur. Let us be your Aaron and Hur. Lean on us. At the same time, we must know that winning today will only happen when there is peace in the Middle East, and when there is an end to anti-Semitism and hate everywhere. Therefore, I ask you to join me in pausing to acknowledge that have been too many innocent people in Gaza, in Israel, who have died. And I pray for peace and safety for all human beings who are in harm's way. You, my brothers and sisters, are not alone. Together, President Berman and I co-wrote a statement that more than 100 other college and university presidents and chancellors signed, condemning the terrorism and calling upon all to act with more clarity in seeking truth and to stand with Israel and to stand with the Palestinians who suffer under Hamas's cruel rule in Gaza. We must stand with all people of moral conscience. We must seek understanding. We are committed to helping our students to find truth and understanding in this complex world. No one should be condemned or threatened for expressing their support or their advocacy for their nationality, their religion, or their ethnicity. Let's move beyond sound bites. Let's work together to promote understanding. We must remember that it was Black American troops that helped to liberate the concentration camps during World War II. We must remember that Jewish leaders like Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel marched with Dr. Martin Luther King to end segregation and advocate for civil rights. We must promise to keep talking, to keep listening, and to help each other to understand each other better. We must lean into love. Be empathetic. Being empathetic is what will help us to move forward. We understand that our families are all scared. We hold fear for those of us with loved ones in the military and those who live in harm's way. We live in fear that the help might not get to the people who need it most. As someone who is Black and with indigenous ancestors, I know how important it is to fight the pull of hate that comes from fear. Therefore, we must help each other to fight the easy and the natural urge to give in to blind rage and hate, and help each other to love humanity, to value each other, and respect each other in all cultures, in all people. Let's do this together. We stand with you against anti-Semitism and bringing the hostages home.
Shalom and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I am Anila Ali. I stand before you as a Muslim American Pakistani, friend of the Jewish people. Inshallah, inshallah. I'm here to affirm to my Abrahamic brothers and sisters that you are not alone. Yes, we are all feeling the hurt, the pain, the fear, but we also stand united in hope that a better future for all of us is possible. Now, my brothers and sisters and young people, in the Jewish culture, faith, we call it tikwa, and in Muslim faith, we call it taqwa. You see how close we are? In 1947, my birth country, Pakistan, emerged from a bloody partition of the British India. 14 million people, including my family, became refugees. 1 million people were killed, including my family. They were the founding fathers and mothers of Pakistan. But they told us, they looked at the next generation and they said, let's move on. And we did. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, we integrated refugees, we accepted the borders, and we focused on building a better future for all our generations. And in that spirit, I declare, the war to destroy the Jews and the Jewish homeland must end once and for all. The Holy Quran repeatedly expresses reverence for the Torah and praises the Jewish people. There is a chapter in the Quran, it's called Bani Israel, Bnei Israel, insists that the children of Israel will be gathered from exile back into their homeland. And let me tell you, Islamic law explicitly forbids attacking civilians, kidnapping babies, grandmothers. All of this violates the core of our religion. And hiding behind civilians is both evil and cowardly. And teaching our children, our youth on campuses to hate Jews is unforgivable. I have been to Israel 3 times, and I have seen for myself